Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I thought we could talk a couple minutes about Sanctuary and Young Justice. Well, as many of you know, we just finished up the final episode of Young Justice. Young Justice fandoms was quite the journey, and by the end of the final episode, we had all kinds of interesting teases for some future storylines, both on Earth and in outer space. Now, there was a little conversation at the end of this episode at the wedding that has many fans buzzing. And that was Black Canary talking about how the heroes really need someplace that they can be themselves and talk about the things that they have to deal with. Now, if you're a fan of the comic books, you know what this is. This is the Sanctuary, and it appears the Heroes in Crisis storyline has some possibilities in the future of Young Justice. Now, if you don't know what Heroes in Crisis was, it was a 9-issue limited series written by Tom King. Now, the series used the Crisis name, which is pretty much a staple for previous DC crossovers, but unlike previous Crisis events, it did not focus on a cosmic threat. Instead, it expanded on a concept that King had introduced in his Batman run, the Sanctuary Rehabilitation Center, which is based on real-life veterans' crisis centers. Now, the idea for Heroes in Crisis was conceived back in 2016 when Tom King actually suffered a panic attack and went to the hospital. Now, in case you didn't know, King is an ex-CIA officer, and although we don't have the details about that part of his life, that's obviously something that can generate trauma. That is the basis of where this story came from. Now, the interesting aspect of this is Wally West actually plays a big part of the story, and fans have wondered if Wally will ever return, and this was how he returned in the comics, and it really didn't go so great. Now, the story itself is a murder mystery, and it chronicles the aftermath of a mass shooting in the Sanctuary Rehabilitation Center. Now, this particular story focuses on Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, but also includes some other DC heroes that we don't typically see in Young Justice, including Harley Quinn and Booster Gold. Now, the story sees quite a few deaths from the DC Universe. Arsenal, Blue Jay, Hotspot, Lagoon Boy, Red Devil, the Protector, the Tattoo Man, and even Wally West are amongst the dead at the Sanctuary. So I don't know how deep they will be diving into this story, or if they will at all. And that's where Greg Weisman comes in. Now, Weisman said in a tweet recently that he was actually just trying to scare people, so I don't actually know if they plan on implementing this storyline in full for the future, or if it'll just serve as a bit of inspiration for other storylines. If you're familiar with how Earth 16 works and the work that Greg Weisman and his crew do, you know they like to take some great DC storylines and evolve them into what really is their own version of the story. Now, if the Young Justice crew chooses to adapt this, I suspect we'll get quite the variation on the original, where it does have a tendency to focus on the heroes from the show more than the classic Trinity and some of the classic Justice Leaguers that the comic book was about. Now, obviously, if we get any more news about this particular story showing up in a Season 5, we're going to bring it to you right away. We're still hoping for that Season 5 announcement from HBO Max and Warner Brothers. Remember, still focus on those hashtags, Renew Young Justice Season 5, and Save Earth 16. I see a lot of them going around on various social media, and I think everybody's doing an awesome job keeping it positive and encouraging HBO and Warner Brothers Animation to make this move. But until we get more news, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the potential for the Heroes in Crisis storyline to show up in the 5th season of Young Justice? And how upset would you be if they brought Wally West back only to kill him off almost immediately after? I think fans would riot. Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.